Today is a life lessons for creative people lesson. It's about maintaining balance in your life and your business. Well, what the heck do I mean by that? Well, there's this crazy thing called balance. Well, in the life of a creative individual, and by the way, maybe one of the reasons that these letters are kind of shaky is because it's kind of difficult to maintain balance sometimes. So one can ask oneself, well, what does my creative life consist of? Now, I come decidedly from the paradigm of, or the point of view of somebody who is selling business to business services of various types, which all tend to be creative endeavors. So in my case, for example, I have many customers coast to coast for whom I have designed and maintained their website. I don't like this brush. Let's try this one. I have a number of customers for whom I do what's called Hold Plus, which is telephone message on hold programming. You call the business, you get stuck on hold, and you get to hear me say, hey, thanks for calling Joe's Hardware. We're glad you've called, blah, blah, blah. I have written and directed a number of feature films. And so that's more of an intellectual property creation type of business function. I have, let's see, still not happy with this pen. What else? Jingles, radio jingles, musical jingles. Okay. And all of these functions in my case, well, except for films. Films are basically mostly from the standpoint that you create the intellectual property and then you try to go find a way to get it distributed. These other items are basically what you would call business-to-business services. Now, the reality is that for most of us, most of our creative life is probably going to consist of business-to-business services if you're a creative person. And I think that's a good thing because most people either are not particularly creative or don't consider themselves to be creative, and so they pay people like you to do those creative things that they either aren't capable of or those technical things that they don't understand. Websites kind of fall into that category. So now here's the question. What ought your time and your day look like? What does it consist of? Well, let's put creation here. All right, creation, meaning we're going to create fun and interesting creative works, whether it's animation like I tend to post about here on YouTube, or whether it's these other business-to-business services that have sort of kept me out of trouble for many years. But the creative process is what we covet as creative people. We want to have the freedom and the income and the opportunity to basically spend all our time just being creative and creating stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, there are actually three components to your professional life as a creative person. One of them, the one that everyone dreads and hates the most, is sales. Okay. Another one is service. It would be either ongoing service to customers that you've had for maybe years, or it's service driven by the needs of a current project that's in the pipeline as a result of your sales effort. Now, what you see, interestingly here, is that sales feeds the service pipeline. And service feeds the creation pipeline, because as either clients need to be serviced or new projects come in the door, you then have to go make stuff in order to provide that service. Okay? Now, if you're like me, you're always wanting to leverage your efforts, which means that your creativity actually feeds the sales process. Now, again, everyone dreads sales. So I'm going to explain sales to you from the standpoint of a creative person who doesn't want to do sales. How ought you to approach sales? And I think this is a great paradigm because it works for everybody. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what you're selling, really. Here's the pattern. Sorry, little mistake there. Okay. IIDT, AYLI, WYBI. What the heck is that? This is your entire sales approach. And it consists of this. Actually, before I tell you the secret here, I'm going to tell you this. This is predicated on the idea that you're a smart person. You're a creative person. You want to be a creative person. You want to do fun and interesting work. Could be computer programming, could be cartooning, could be music, doesn't matter. But what this means is, if I did it, and you liked it, would you buy it? It's that simple. So I think websites are a great example of that. You simply, if you're into that, you simply find somebody who's got a really crappy website, and you call them up and you say, I'm a web developer. I was looking at your website and I had some ideas. I had a concept. This is a good line. I had a concept for some ways that we could improve what you have going on. And just wanted to find out if I did it and you liked it, would you buy it? Well, what's going to happen is, first of all, you're going to feel good about your sales process. And the reason you're going to feel good about your sales process is because you're truly approaching things not from the standpoint of I'm trying to sell, which everyone thinks, salesmen are annoying, right? You're approaching it from the standpoint of wanting to help. Your goal is to find people you can help. It is not a sale. It is a search. You're simply searching for people who could use your help. And what will happen is they'll either give you a reason why they're not going to do it, or they're going to say, absolutely, you called on the right day, or they're going to say, maybe. And that usually, it often takes the form of, how much is it going to cost me? So you need to kind of have a little bit of a roadmap in place for that. It's my general feeling that dancing around this question is never helpful. It's generally better to just give a straight answer that is pretty close to what you think it's going to be. Because, look, if somebody's going to be not a good customer, and the main reason they're not going to be a good customer is because they can't afford what you're selling, then why do you want to waste your time? So, getting back to what I said earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and take these guys out. The thing I want to point out about this circular process is that, generally speaking, it could probably almost be said that you should be giving about 1/3 of your time to each of these. Now, early in the process, you won't give 1/3 of your time to this because you don't have any customers yet. Okay. So maybe early in the process, you are going to spend more time on this, and probably a fair amount of time on this too. Because what you're trying to do, look, again, let's use websites as an example. The question might be, where is the leverage? You can take a website that works fine for one client, and 90% of it will work fine for another client. You're just swapping out the details. Different pictures, a little bit different text. The basic structural pattern and underlying technology could be identical. So you save a lot of effort the second time around. But of course, there are such cases, clients where their need is very, very specific, and of course, each project comes with its own set of requirements. But generally speaking, you want to think of these each feeding one another. The idea that you want to spend all your time here is a seductive one, but it's kind of a lie. The truth of the matter is, very few people can sustain spending all their time like creating stuff. You run out of gas after a certain period of time. So as satisfying as this part of the process might be, realize that it's not the end-all be-all in terms of you feeling good about yourself and your life. Actually, more of that's going to come from here. Because as you use this approach and you find people that you can help, you will find that is an extremely energizing process. You feel good about that because you're making money. And you're making money doing stuff that you want to do. And as you make the sale, all of a sudden, now you've got service to perform. And while you're performing that service, the way you do it is by making stuff. And if you're smart about it, what you do is, as I just said, you look for leverage. You're looking for ways that the work I do today can be reused for my customer tomorrow. And in that sense, you create not only intellectual property, but you also create systems and workflows and methods of doing what you do that give you, in essence, a new product that you can sell. Okay? And this is pretty much how the world of creative services goes. Sometimes there will be big projects. Sometimes there will be small projects. If the projects are small, it's not a bad idea to think about ways to annualize your revenue stream. In other words, provide a service that is of a subscription nature where you can get paid next year, not just get paid one time. And as long as the benefits of the service are real and the updates or the changes that are ongoing are actually, meaningful in some way to the client, then, they're getting what they paid for. And everyone's happy. Okay? Folks, that's it. That's all there is today. If you want to be a happy creative person, let me actually summarize it this way. If you want to be a happy creative person, you've got to be making money. You can't just be creative. You've got to find a way to turn it into coin. Because believe me, from the standpoint of your self-esteem, your satisfaction, your happiness, your family, everything about your life, this is extremely important. And for you to get comfortable with tightening up your service system, looking for ways to annualize it, looking for ways to get leverage with the stuff you create so that then you have more products or services you can sell, you're designing your own life. You're creating what you want to create, and then you're going out and you're just trying to find people that you can help. And if this happens, you'll find that it makes you breathe a sigh of relief. I'm making money. I know I'm doing okay because cash is flowing. It's important. So with that, that is my life lesson for creative people for today. I speak from a place of knowledge and experience because I've been selling business to business services for almost 30 years, and I haven't had a real job since 1991. So maybe I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so anyway, that's it for today, and as usual, there will be more later.